All right, guys. So I'm basically gonna just focus and talk out loud and just not look at my chat. And this is basically what a focused round of training looks like on my part. So, okay. So let's see. Stand jab. It's pretty good range. Okay. Actually, let me go through the frame data first. So it's 5 frames to startup. It's pretty fast. 3 active frames. So it's pretty easy to melee with. 11 frames of recovery. So in total, that is what, 18 frames? Yeah. Oh yeah, it says it right here. Forgot I put that there. So typically light attacks in this game for like other characters will be like, say like Jamie's crouch jab is I believe 14 frames. Yeah, 14 frames total. Okay, you guys can see that right here. But his stand jab, Sagat stand jab, there's an extra 4 frames there. Okay, so why this is important is because if you use this as a feint, that 4 frames of additional total animation can kind of screw you over. And then if somebody like just so happens to jump and they have a very steep hitting jumping attack, you get hit and you're like, oh fuck, I was trying to bait, and then they just so happen to jump in and clap your shit because of that. Okay, so that's actually something that I talk about here. Okay, but it has good range. It hits crouching at max range, unlike Street Fighter 5. So in Street Fighter 5, this was not possible. You had to be like this to hit him. Okay, so then if you did like jab jab, that second jab would have whipped. But this, all of that hits, which is really good. Okay, this is really sick. So this just helps because I don't have to overthink the interactions, because I'm like, oh man, am I close enough? Is he you know, as long as I know my ranges, I'm fine. On punish counter, it combos into stand medium punch and to back heavy punch. All right, or you get this. Okay, you also get this, and if you by some chance were to get this as a starter, you can get this. Okay, combos into medium punch DP consistently, non-whiff punish if you do heavy punches. Oh, okay. So if I were to hit him, as long as this hits, you basically get a guaranteed medium DP, which is pretty cool. Okay. See? And in Street Fighter 5, this would have whiffed and then you would have got cooked. Okay, so this is pretty good to know. Okay, as you see, like max range, I walk a pixel forward, it still hits. Okay, even on standing, it still works. So this is really good for like the stability aspect. I like this a lot. Now, in the event you get a whiff punish with it, that actually works. Not bad. It's only 100 less damage, 120 less damage, but it's 2 frames faster than the stand light kick. But of course, this is gonna be like, you know, your best whiff punish in that situation. But sometimes, you know, you just want to prioritize the speed and the safety of that type of a button, because maybe you're only wanting like one interaction away from KOing the opponent. So then you don't want to overcomplicate it. So then you say, oh, I'll just stick to this, and I minimize my risk simultaneously. It's a really strong tactic to do fundamentally. Okay, so negatives. It doesn't frame trap into a light on DRC. You're actually minus. So if I set Jamie to do that, I'd actually get counter hit. I'm going into crouch jab, which is my fastest button. I'm getting cooked. And obviously, if that's my fastest option, then that means I can't throw either. Okay, can't do anything else. I could fucking hard commit to that, I guess, but why would I ever do that? I don't know. All right, next. It doesn't combo into crouching strong on counter hit. This is actually something if they were to buff him, this is like one of the things I would like. This is only +6, so when you get this, this doesn't combo. And then this has no range. No. And like I mentioned earlier, it has a slower than average total animation. So trying to mediate like against Ed's EX reversal, you can't use that button. You're gonna get cooked. Let's look at the hitbox of this really quick. Like, okay. So it's not too crazy. The hitbox stays extended like around his elbow during the recovery frames. But And as usual, like every other light attack in the game, I'm pretty sure it has this property where the hurt box extends 2 frames before it's active. Okay, stand medium punch. All right, so stand medium punch, 6 frames, 4 active frames. It's a lot of active frames. 15 frames of recovery. Okay, which is not too bad for a medium button. So 24 total frames, plus 6 on hit, plus 2 on block. Okay, so this is by far his best offensive tool, just because of how close he stays to the opponent when he's staggering with this. And it's very forceful and makes people want to unblock, be it by parrying, mashing, reversal, timing an invincible attack, trying to, I don't know, maybe jump and reset and try to hope I canceled into something that they can punish me with, like a Nexus or a Tiger Knee if they were airborne. Okay, but this is really good. Hitbox is pretty decent, so it might not be bad for like drive rush checking drive rush jabs because of this hitbox disjoint. Okay, because remember, like we talked about with like most light attacks in the game, where they have this heart box extension. So buttons like this that are active, or not buttons that are active like this, or you know, like this, will be able to like hit drive rush jabs, stuff like this. Okay, so it's pretty good. On counter hit, it's plus 8. Okay, so regularly it combos into itself. On counter hit, you get this, so this is going to be like the best confirmed for sure. Now let's say he blocks that. Okay, so I'm only +1 if I drive rush into this. Okay, so frame trapping into this isn't really going to be ideal unless the person's like a delay techer. Then yeah, sure, you can do that. But if you ever see this, just know he's only +1, so he cannot throw you if you mash jab. But this one he's +3, so this one you gotta actually be smart, okay, about how you retaliate on defense. The thing I wanted to see was if he mashes, right? Let's I don't know, let's just hypothetically say he fucking does delay throw. Oh, you're still in range. Okay, so if you were to stagger like this, you'd still be in range, which is pretty good. It's like converting stuff like that is pretty good, right? Because right now what everybody's basically doing is like they're just, if they hit that, they're just doing that into that, which is like whatever. Or I'm seeing this, which is like that's not doing anything. Okay, it's pretty good damage, 33%, and you basically just get your bar back. Okay, this is pretty good. So on punish counter, it's +10. You get this, which is pretty good. Okay, so if, for example, one of the prime situations you want to use this for is against drive reversal. There's a 40%. It's pretty nutty, I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of crazy. Sagat's offense is pretty obnoxious, and people will more than likely want to drive reversal him off of the themselves because of just how sticky his pressure is. He's just stays on top of you, you know. He doesn't really have a lot of pushback. So even this, like, look, all right, like, can't do that on block. Okay, do it on probably like wake up, but you can also media this so that it doesn't, that it's safe against the drive reversal on wake up, which is 2 frames faster than the typical one. Okay, but even then you can still media that, stand strong, and be able to block, which is basically the Oki that you want to go for the most part. Okay, all right, so now, oh yeah, so yeah, like I was saying, this is +2 on block, right? So now you're not in throw range immediately, but like if you watch, like he has above average throw range. So yeah, this is great for staggering. It has a decent disjoint, which will allow it to smoke reversal jabs pretty easily when you space it out. So you see, this is a very common thing where players will do like delay jab. Okay, something like this. Make him crouch. Something like that, you see? Where if I were to do this and walk up and throw him, he hits me. But instead, I say, all right, I'm gonna walk back and try to smoke the delay timing or something, you know? So I was saying it has a decent hitbox. It's useful for checking those 4-frame drive rush sequences like this. See, it's pretty good. And then if we were to look at like Jamie's hitbox, for example, you see the hurtbox extension I told you guys about. You see 1, 2, and then it's active. Okay, so this is like a universal thing. Doesn't matter what character. I can go to any character. You'll see Guile has it. Okay, see 1, 2, boom. Okay, so this is why if you study the game, you might not play a matchup, but you can just apply solutions intuitively, as if you understand like the themes that are spread across the game, you know, because there's that type of consistency you can take advantage of. Okay, so then, you know, you can do this. Okay, okay, all right, so on counter hit, it confirms into back heavy punch, which is one of Sagat's best combo starters, especially in the corner. It's super meter efficient, that route. Okay, so this is gonna be your party starter for sure. Okay, so on punish counter, it gives you stand heavy kick, which is great for punishing drive reversals, like I was saying. All right, so now for the negatives, it's a pretty stubby button. It's not cancelable, so you have to be very mindful of DI. It's somewhat easy to whiff punish. Like, you shouldn't just like do it randomly, like close to an opponent, because they could just low forward flinch, react, and punish you or something like that. But you can use it in neutral as like a fireball feint. Okay, so it's not a bad idea to use it like occasionally. You know, if somebody's like waiting for a high shot, something like that. Okay, it's not ideal to do it all the time, considering that, you know, it's 24 frames that you're just not being able to block. So if somebody just so happens to jump or so happens to drive rush and they hit you, you get, you know, you let them get started. But it's not bad to use this as a disruptor in neutral, or just as a feint for like a rhythm disruptor, you know, just to like kind of break your own rhythm and create confusion in your opponent's mind. And in that confusion, that's when you can take advantage of things when your opponent's probably not looking for a jump or overhead or maybe a step kick. You know, a lot of like misdirection can be capitalized off of moments like that. Okay, so let's see. Oh yeah, and it doesn't naturally convert into crouching medium punch. You need counter hit. Okay, that's actually like, that's, yeah. So you don't get that. Okay, it can go into itself, but because it's stubby, again, you have to be close. Okay, so just something to think about. Okay, not in range for that. You can also convert into light DP off of this, so it's actually not bad. Yeah, it's not bad if you don't have meter. Okay, so let's look at this. So no hurtbox extension on startup, which is what makes it difficult to hit him out of this if you know he's doing it. Okay, because there's no like hurtbox to take advantage of before he goes active, so he's just bang right in your face. Okay, there are lingering hurtboxes. That's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Damn, it's like, oh, it's a while. Fuck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so 10, it starts to retract. 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so it's a while. So 14 frames is of where you can take advantage of this whiffing. So stand fierce. So this button is beefy as hell. Stand fierce is 15 frames, active for 4. Okay, so this, the more active your button is, the greater the chance somebody can run into it. Okay, so the more active the better. The easier it is to also meaty with the button. Only 0 on hit, -5 on block, so you do want to make sure you space this the right way, because I think depending on the characters might be able to punish it. Let's find out. I put Jamie at, oh never mind. If that doesn't work, then it's actually maybe in the mirror match. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so you can punish like that. All right, so characters with really far lights will be able to punish you. Okay, so you just got to be mindful of that. So you most likely want to space it out just to have a good habit of doing so, but then there are going to be some characters where you can abuse it and just try to take a lot of drive chip. Okay, so there's 22 frames of recovery, so if this move were to whiff, you have all day and next week to punish this. Okay, see how long it took me to crouch with player 2 Sagat? Okay, You just took 42%. All right, so that's something you got to be pretty careful with. You can't be throwing this out like an idiot. He doesn't have the walk speed. Okay, you shouldn't be whiffing it because it does go really far, don't get me wrong. Right, it's literally like half screen. But if you're fighting somebody that is like, when you're suddenly here and they start walking back, you just have to be mindful of it. Okay, you see how he's still walking back while I was charging up the bunch? The proximity guard doesn't kick in frame 1, so there's a couple of frames where somebody can move. You see that? So you just have to be careful with this button. Like, they could have been in range when you pressed it, but if they started walking back, there's a slight chance, depending on the range, that they could just be out of range of the button whiffing. Okay, so this is something you have to be very careful with when you use this button. So something to think about. All right, so on counter hit, it's only +2. On punish counter, it's only +4, and it doesn't do like, it only does 80 damage. It doesn't even do more damage than stand heavy kick. So like, even when I was trying to get creative, like, oh, what if I drive rush punish with it? It's still not really worth it like that, to be honest. Okay, I'm +8 there. Not even in range. Versus, which also keeps me in range. Or whatever I want. Okay, that does scale harder because the stand heavy kick has a built-in scaling factor, unlike stand fierce. But you could just get much better punishes with like doing forward heavy kick, which is only like 1 frame slower, mind you. Like, legit only 1 frame. This is 15, this is 16. So okay, so yeah, it has some pretty good range, has really long range, has a pretty strong influence in the neutral because of this. Okay, also the hitbox on it is pretty good. No heartbox extension until it's active. And then look at the disjoint. The disjoint is insane. It's actually insane. So this is really strong. Okay, so you just got to be crafty on how you go about using this. You could threaten to like do a lot of drive chip with it, which is one of the pros of the button too, or to make them block. See, it does a little bit over half. So if I turn off the refill and make it standard, 2 of this is more than 1 bar of drive, which is pretty crazy. it's a lot. My favorite thing about this button is that it has a hit confirmable target combo. Okay, some pretty good damage. 2000 damage, +39 on knockdown, and allows for drive rush pressure. So this is pretty sick. So compared to 5, when you use this, what would happen is it would just be like this. You're in the same situation, and it's a spacing Sagat doesn't really want to be at. But now you use this to wall in front of you and discourage forward progression, or just maybe mindless use of tools or whatever. And if you convert this, you get a knockdown, and then this is where Sagat clearly shines in the game, is on offense. So he's just a lot more rewarding with each contact that he successfully lands. Negatives, again, easy to whiff punish, susceptible to jump ins because of how slow it is. Look, it's 43 total frames. So this is literally the same amount as me jumping forward. Okay, so think of it like that. Every time you whiff this button, you basically let your opponent just do this. That's basically what you did. You're like, oh, I'm gonna let you anti-air me, but on the ground. Okay, so that's how you got to think about the risk reward. Like, does it make sense for me to press this mindlessly, knowing that I might not be in range? Probably not. The other thing is that it's susceptible to DIs. Okay, so the target combo only hits twice, and even if it were to crumple, it'd be so slow it doesn't do anything. It's not super cancelable. It's only target combo cancelable. So the second I do this, I'm cooked, even if I don't cancel into the target combo. Okay, see how early I did it, and I still got cooked. So it doesn't matter. You can do this on the same frame as a perfect parry, and you still would be able to DI this, basically. See? So I did it on the same exact frame as a perfect parry, or the first active frame is the way you can look at it, and I was still able to punish that. So you just gotta be careful with using it. And another thing too is that you can drive reversal this on block. Okay, so if somebody is trying to pressure, you can do this, and you can get some pressure established. Okay, or if maybe like the person, for example, is in burnout, now you get essentially a guaranteed chip sequence. Nothing they could do. So not only did they take the gray damage from the drive reversal, but then they're also taking this follow-up chip. Okay, so stuff like that's important to be mindful of, because if you're in burnout, you're thinking, oh, I gotta go and try to get this drive back, right? But simultaneously threaten your drive, and you gotta be careful, because if you're low on health, then that situation could easily be flipped on its head. All right, so that's enough for the standing buttons, the standing punches, and then we'll move on to the kicks. Okay, so we got stand light kick. Okay, so this button I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about it. Has potential. Okay, but maybe this button gets stronger once everything else gets figured out, because that's the type of character Sagat is. Sagat doesn't have one broken thing. He hasn't been like that since vanilla Street Fighter 4. So when he does thrive, it's because there's a harmony amongst his tool set. So I learned to not judge tools like in isolation, in a vacuum. I just, like, obviously, like if I look at something, I'm like, okay, this is strong, so I imagine it's even stronger. Like Tiger Knee, for example. I think Tiger Knee is pretty good. It's not broken, but it's pretty good, especially then when you use it in tandem with the rest of his tool sets. This button is 7 frames, all right? Has amazing reach. Like the reach of this is fucking the equivalent of like, they're like damn near the same fucking range. No, actually, this goes further than the Ryu's low forward. That's actually crazy. Imagine this. See, so that when you start exploring things like this, it's like, wow, this is actually very powerful if you think about this. So maybe not like a jury though, right? Because like juries, there's no way, right? Wait a fucking minute, no way. Okay, I was about to say. All right, so jury has the longest low forward in the game if you factor in that it extends on the second active frame. So I'll show you guys an example of that. Okay, so if you only want to count the first frame, then you would say Terry has the longest. Okay, but she extends into it. So see, like this, that little so the first active frame is the second. So sometimes, you know, you think you're out of range, but it's because she extends into it. Okay, so you just have to be mindful of that. But that's pretty good, all things considered, because he was in range of the first hit, or the first active frame. Okay, so that means he's basically on par with it at the fastest timing. And then in the event that, you know, you're a little further out and she gets to make it to that second active frame, then she can cook you. Okay, that's still good to know. It's only active for 2 frames. Has 15 frames of recovery, so it's just slightly slower than stand medium punch. Okay, so these can both be used for feints, but they're committal feints. They're not like a crouching jab, which is only 15 frames. And even that's still on the slower end, because there are 14 frames and 13 frame jabs. Actually, I think DJ's might even be faster than that. His might be 12, I think. Let me see. Yeah, his is 12. Bruh. That's insane. Now, let's talk about the hits. Okay, so on hit, okay, this is -1. All right, so on counter hit, it's +1. My visual peoples. Roll that in there so you guys can see it. Okay, so on punish counter, it's only +3. But now here's the thing. You could see that and say, okay, that doesn't fucking matter. But you got to remember, because we know that we can't get this into this, which is one of the cons of this button, to be honest. And I would hope they buff this at some point. But because we can't get that, we can get this on counter hit. Okay. We can get this. Okay. And then on punish counter, you'll also get this. This. Okay. So one of the ways you could use this is for that whiff punish conversion. You can also whiff punish into heavy DP from really, really far. Okay, so like for example, and if you were to drive rush into it, it would be 0 on block. Oh, it's naturally -4, but then on I forgot he was in burnout. Yeah, it's -4 naturally. If you drive rush into it, it's 0, or if he's in burnout, it's 0. Okay. The range of it is awesome, especially in the context that it's further than a lot of crouching medium punches in the game, including my own. This actually goes further than my own crouching strong. So you have a threatening tool with this range, okay, that you can establish. Almost combos at max range. Almost. Just barely doesn't. See? Okay. It's always combos though, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because it's so fast. And not just the speed, but also the startup. His high shot is 2 frames faster than low shot. So it combos into medium DP at every range, which is pretty cool. See? That's pretty cool. And it's good for checking forward movement. Sucks you can't get like high shot, but you can get something like this. It's almost 30%. It's not bad. So as for the cons, has slower total animation than most light attacks in the game. Okay, so it is somewhat committal. All right, so it's not the greatest feint in the world, but it's something that you can do here and there, right? Can't combo into the 4 frame on DRC, which is pretty fucking whack in my opinion, but it is what it is. Also, this is another thing that's whack about this. I think they're gonna end up changing this, to be honest, maybe with the Viper patch. But you can't frame trap off of DRC either. Okay. So you might as well, whenever you block any of Sagat's lights, you might as well just do it. Okay. Okay. Can be whiff punished pretty easily with low forwards, because I believe there is an extension. Yeah, see, at his feet. That lingers for a bit. Okay. And there's that lingering Hitbox extension on the startup frames, at the end of the startup frames. Or the end of the active frames, rather, right? Into the recovery phase. Stand medium kick. Alright, so this is, in my opinion, this is my favorite button that he has. I'm a sucker for stand medium kick. And this button was really good in 5. It wasn't rewarding, but it was good. It was a good stable option, right? But now it's actually like insanely good, because you can hit confirm this into a knockdown. It's pretty easy to confirm it, honestly. It's super easy. So you can hit confirm it, and then you get Oki. All right, and the Oki is like, it's not the craziest like compared to Stand Fierce, which does like it does a lot more damage, and it gives you more knockdowns, 39. This is only like what, 30? Oh, it's actually not that much of a difference. I thought it was more than that. So it's only a 1 frame difference. That's actually pretty good. So yeah, so you can basically get the same type of Oki then with both of the target combo conversions. That's pretty sick. So yeah, it's 11 frames of startup. Okay, which is pretty good for a button that goes this far and gives you this much reward. Okay. All right, and it's hit confirmable. Has 4 active frames, which is awesome for a poke like this, because again, it's just helps lean into the whole wall style approach that Sagat wants going on as he transitions into offense. Has 19 frames of recovery, so it is pretty beefy. You know, like you can pretty much, it's not like you can accidentally whiff punish just like Stand Fierce. Stand Fierce you can accidentally whiff punish this like all day, right? Because it has like an extra 6 frames of recovery compared to Stand Medium Kick. But you know, you can like see it and be like, oh, and just punish it, you know? It is only +3 on hit, okay? -3 on block, so it is safe, which is pretty cool. You were to drive rush. That sucks. Okay, but yeah, so you can be +1 if you do this. So maybe if like if it's like a crouching button, yeah. I messed up there. That was my fault. Okay, not bad. Actually, you can even do this. I forgot you can do this. That scales like a lot less, which is like, damn. And I saved the meter, so that's going to be something we talk about when we talk about command normals. So on counter hit, it's +5. So you get stand jab. Okay, not bad. Oh, I'm trying to get the... Am I not in range? Oh, there you go. I thought the cancel window wasn't in range. Alright, what the hell? There you go. Okay. And then on a punish counter, you'd be able to get this. Bam. Wow, that did a lot of damage. Holy shit. Yeah, that scales, so there's no point of ever doing that. Interesting. That's pretty cool. So I think a lot of power lies in that target combo, to be honest, for meter efficiency. Which is like one of the things I'm learning to lean into the most with him, is that I think like that's gonna be the real star of the character's design, is his meter efficiency and how he's still able to dish out a lot of damage while still avoiding burnout. I think that's where he's gonna excel. That's where he's gonna climb the tiers, but that's like a long-term vision, so maybe that's why people are underwhelmed by him right now. But I see it. I'm very enamored with the character. There are obviously like drawbacks to his design, but I mean, it's infinitely better than Street Fighter V, to be honest. So this is his second longest normal, I believe, not counting unique attacks. Stand heavy kick would be the longest, technically. I'm pretty sure. Are they tied? Oh, they're tied. Yeah, it's tied second longest. Also, the longest is stand fierce. That's what it is. Yeah, it's tied second longest. And so this and stand heavy kick have the same range, basically. Okay. And then stand fierce is his longest poke. Okay, not counting unique attacks like this or this. Okay, talk about that later. So that's a really good range. Obviously, you can confirm into the target combo like I told you guys. It is pretty good at low crushing. So for example, if I don't know, let's say I do this into this. See? It's pretty good for doing this. Okay. Let me do this. Yeah, there you go. This is a better example. Oh, this is actually the better example. There you go. Oh yeah, so there's no extended hurt box on the startup frames of Crouching Strong. Stand medium kick. Okay, so this is like a common theme with Sagat. Okay. So trying to intercept him preemptively, this is how they like try to circumvent the fact that he's slow, and you know you're dealing with speedy opponents, is these facts right here. Okay, like that. This is something that you want to obviously take advantage of. You know what I'm saying? This is important. This is integral to his design, okay, and stability in those really sticky spacings where fast characters can thrive. Right, is that he's just not as easily of a like stationary target compared to other characters that might not have these type of properties on their moves. Okay, so this button's pretty good. Okay, so negatives. I think we're on the negatives. Okay, so there's a lingering hurt box on recovery that lasts about 10 frames. Let's count this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Boom. Okay, so you'd want to whiff punish with something that covers this range. Okay, you don't want to whiff punish with a low forward or anything like that. Now you can sweep it, okay, because sweep goes like deeper towards this hurt box over here. But if you want like a really good fast whiff punish and you're already standing, just commit to a standing mid buffer, DRC, whatever, and you'll be able to whiff punish this. Okay, also since it has a lot of recovery, it's easy to jump in on for sure, and it's susceptible to drive rush. In order for me to be safe against drive rush, I did the math on this, I have to at least be +7. Okay, so let's say for example I'm gonna have Kami do DI. Okay, I get hit. Okay, I make her delay it by a frame. Boom. Okay, so as long as I am +7 when I press this, I cannot get DI'd. It's very important to know stuff like that, as you guys will see when I play future matches. Okay, having that down, you can't get DI'd. And you know, DI is a very common thing against Sagat, but then people aren't aware of that. They try to DI me in these spots I can't get DI'd, then they get blown up. Now stand heavy kick. Okay, so this button, stand heavy kick, 2 hitting attack. All right, it's 10 frames to start up on the first hit. All right, and then it's active for 2 frames, I believe, on the first hit. Let's actually look at this. I think the first portion of it is active for 2 frames. Yes. Okay, and then it's active for 4 on the second part. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 6 total active frames, which is a lot. All right, but we'll talk about the negatives of this. Okay, but for in the meantime, let's keep to the frame data. So it's 21 frames of recovery. All right, if it whiffs, it's 25, so there's additional recovery. So I'll show you an example of that. Okay, so right here you're gonna see it says 21. Okay, but if I whiff, it's 25. Okay, so they're just trying to make it so you're a little bit more precise when it comes to doing this. Okay, and if they were to crouch block, you could crouch block the second. I would be -7. Okay, now it's +1 on hit. Okay, the first hit 4 stands, +1 on hit. Okay, so you don't get really much anything off of this. You get this into this, but it's like you might as well have just done this or something, right? And got more value out of it, I guess. But it's only +1 on hit. On block, if they're standing, -5. Okay. But if somebody blocks that, they're most likely going to be crouching, right? Unless they're like walking backwards, like from a sequence, and you just go to do that. Maybe just try to get some drive trip or some shit, knowing that the person's walking back. All right, so it's let's see, so +3 on counter hit, so you can't convert into anything. Okay, punish counter, it's +5, and then yeah, if you drive rush and counter hit, it's +7, so you get like, yeah, you get this. Oops. Okay. Why would you ever do that? You never would, but at least you know it's a thing. Okay. So let's see. So yeah, this has the same range as stand medium kick like we talked about. It's pretty good for whiff punishing. So I think people gotta start incorporating this as a whiff punish. So I'm already used to using this as a whiff punish from Street Fighter 5, but the second hit wasn't cancelable. So when you'd whiff punish, you'd have to have V trigger 1 or V trigger 2. But up until then, I would just do stand heavy kick, and it's like I don't really get anything off of it. There are some instances where you could heavy DP, but it was like super fucking rare. All right, because of where you're using it from as the whiff punish. Remember, you got a whiff punish, you got to be out of range of their button, right? Which means you're further away, which then it's like then the heavy DP could just whiff, okay, if you're like too far. So, but this is pretty good. Okay. All right. Not bad. Not bad at all. Oops. Okay. It is cancelable on both hits, which is really important. So when you get the first hit, you can go into the heavy nexus, and if you get both hits, you can late confirm it into whatever. Okay, obviously they can crouch us, so you have to be mindful of that. But if you are doing like maybe, I don't know, like you get a whiff punish and then you see both the hits hit or something like that, then you can get both hits into nexus like this. Okay, which is pretty cool. On block, it's a true block string into heavy DP. So let's say we're fighting Cammy. She's trying to avoid ship. Okay. Her super didn't come out. Okay. There was no gap. But even with this, see? Alright. So let's say... Let me go a little bit. Yeah, right here. Boom. That's all real. See? So those situations, it's good to know that, because that situation can happen at a high level. You're aware of that. You convert, boom. Okay. So if 4 stands, okay, so then you can combo into this from the punish, counter, stand, medium punch like we talked about. Okay. So any like supers that recover crouching or DP, stuff like that, you'd start with this, you go into this, and then you get both the hits. Okay, like, or for example, like we talked about earlier with the drive reversal. Okay. Also, it's a great anti-air, in my opinion. Okay. The first hit, the disjoint isn't that great. This part, it's not that great. Okay. So if you allow the opponent to be too close, they can kind of trade or, you know, maybe bypass this, right? They can bypass this part. This is when it becomes air invul, is when it goes dark green. So they can potentially bypass this, or they could hit you here, which is when it's not. Okay, so this is the second to last. Or this is the second to, yeah, this is the second to last startup frame. This is the last startup frame. And then it's active. Okay. So you want to be more conscious of the spacing. So that way you can consistently use this as an anti-air against like a dive kick. Okay. Because once it gets to this, it's there's nothing they can do. All right. So the math here is it's 10, 11, and basically this is 12. All right. So if you want to give yourself some grace, you can say, okay, 11, but I got to be spaced out. But for sure, 12 frames, they're cooked. Nothing they can do here. Okay, this is why this is such a stable option. Okay. Actually, I wonder if can I get it? Well, that didn't work. Wait, why did that run out? That's so whack. Okay, that's strange. Maybe because of the stand heavy kick. But yeah, so you can cancel it. You know, the fact that you can cancel it and then it also has such a great hitbox for those situations. You're probably gonna get like a lot of pretty fun stuff. Okay, and it's pretty good for sniping like somebody's like walking block if you're ready. You know how to time it. Okay, all right. Of course, you got to be like a sharpshooter with it. It's not great to just throw it out there unless you have like intent. So for the cons, second hit is whiffing on the crouchers. That's pretty unfortunate, but I mean, this is pretty stable, so there's nothing surprising here. Okay, and you end up being -7, so just be careful with that. There's a lot of recovery on this. It's 40 frames. It's only 3 frames less than an entire jump, so you can get whiff punished pretty easily. Oh yeah, and it can whiff on anti-airs if you are too close. So the way you want to use this is kind of like a pseudo DP, like a heavy DP range type of thing. You don't want to use this like a light DP. Okay, like, yeah, you can get this like this really cool situation where, you know, if you walk under, you can do that, but that requires a bit of precision. Okay. Okay. Just something to be mindful of. You don't want to just press this without knowing that the situation is going to happen, and also without doing the walk forward. Okay, but even if you do the walk forward, because of how slow it is that we talked about, you can still get clapped. Okay, so that is it for the standing buttons. Okay, so as far as what I see, okay, let's go into how I figure out what the fuck a button does. I always want to, like, you know, talk about the math. It's fast. You know, it's a pretty fast button. So this is like the theory part, and then we go into practice. Okay, so let's see. So then I'm like, all right, let me see. It's pretty good range. All right, like all things considered. Okay. Like even her stand jab doesn't hit me here. You know? And she's standing, mind you. I'm crouching and she wasn't even hitting me. right? Or she was. No, she wasn't. Okay. But still, that's like pretty crazy. Okay, so it's pretty good range. With drive rush checks, you want to figure out how a tool works at 3 ranges. I'd say like within like your medium range, let's say round start range, and then like further. Okay, so let's say like for here, let's fucking replay, man. There you go. So lights are typically really good for checking drive rush when you are at like at this range. Why would you be at this range? This is the range where people get greedy and they try to loop their pressure. The pressure ends, but they get greedy and try to force. Okay, so when somebody, let's say he does boom 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 and then he goes like that, something like that, right? So at the end of the pressure, you would just look for this. It's not bad. Actually pretty good. That whiffs. And then a little further, let's say it's like match start spacing. Okay, like this, yeah. Yeah, this is not bad against like really fast drive rushes like this. Does it actually work? Oh, that works on counter hit? I didn't know that. Oh, wow. Actually crazy. I did not know that. Okay, so like a little further out at this type of range, it's not really ideal. It is possible, but you could react too fast. All right, so if you're reacting really fast, so this is how you would gauge is like if you do try to check and you get punish countered, okay, that's frustrating, but then you say, okay, I'm reacting fast enough that I can get more opportunity off of a medium, right? So you just have to change your perceptions, that way you don't get frustrated. Damn. Wow. That is so sick. That's so good. That's so good. That's so sick. That's insane. Bruh. How many characters can do like a meterless 4K into a level 2? That's crazy. That's pretty insane. Okay, so it's pretty decent for that, and then obviously long range is like that shit's just not happening, not here. And then the cons, there's no real cons, honestly. I don't think there's any cons. It has really good range. You can convert into counter hit. This would be better for the drive rush checks. Yeah. That's actually pretty good. Only thing is that you're not gonna get like a cancel into super. If you're too meaty on the uppercut, you'll be airborne. All right, next button, crouch and medium punch. 7 frames of startup, which is pretty good. Even though like, you know, they're like the better 6-frame buttons that exist, like Akuma's. But this is still pretty good because at the very least, it's not like a death sentence if I'm 0 against 7-frame low forwards, you know? So like we would trade basically if I was 0 in a situation. So that type of shit is like really important, because that can make a difference between somebody getting the button into DRC and then you're forced to drive reversal, or, you know, like little things like that are so important. So yeah, 7 startup, 3 active frames, 17 recovery, plus 4 on hit, minus 1 on block. Crouching medium punches. This is It's pretty good. It's a pretty good range. Okay. Cancelable. Has a lot of blocks done, which is pretty cool. So if I were to like do that, it's a true block string, trades. Yeah. Let me see. You can single hit confirm it into a light, which is pretty cool. Oh. Yeah. For the counter hit. It's not bad. Doesn't really have a lot of negatives, honestly. This is a really good button. Like, I'll take these negatives all. Look at all of the positives. Look at all the pros compared to that. Right. It's pretty good. All right, crouch fierce to 11 frames to start up, so that's the same as stand medium kick. Okay. 4 active frames, 21 frames of recovery, +1 on hit, -5 on block. Okay, this button is insane in terms of the range. This is like it's obviously not as far as this because it's cancelable. You know, I'll be fucking broken, but this is still pretty good. Like, if I want to put it at a reduced game speed, you can see him lean into it. Like, you see how it whiffs? See? So, you see? Doesn't hit? Boom. Okay. So it's good to know that type of shit, because then there's a margin of error that is like you can account for. Okay. But to know if this is as strong as it can be, we got to do this test. This is the most important thing. How fast? Ah, okay. Yeah. Proximity guard. Okay. So the proximity guard is basically matching the active frames. So you have to make sure they are in range. Like, you cannot hesitate. The second you hesitate, you get cooked. You saw how you walked back and then he stopped right there? See? Okay, so if I hesitate, that's what happens. So this is why, like, you have to be aware of shit like this, at least intuitively, you know, or at least be a confident player to where you don't hesitate, because then if you hesitate, that type of shit happens and then you get whiff punished and you get cooked, you know. So players that are more reactionary, more cautious, if they're trying to learn how to like use this button, you have to just commit. You have to commit. You can't, oh, I'm gonna delay. No, you're gonna get cooked, because if you run into somebody that just does this all day, yeah. So very important. But this is cancelable. The amount of block stun you get off of this is insane. Look at this. That's crazy. That's actually insane. Okay, like so literally it's either a true block string or I'm safe. Like, there's no, see? So this is very powerful to be aware of. You know? That's good for that, like, setting that up. Great range. You get a lot of block stun, so you can do a lot of like DI safe things. You know? Wow, it's almost 30%. It's pretty good. It's good whiff punish tool also from really far. 35%. It's pretty sick. Of course, you can some pretty beefy damage off of that. You can whiff punish it into Nexus. Crouch and light kick. This, I honestly believe, is his best defensive button. But the thing that sucks is it's not like +4 on hit. If it was like +4 on hit, no, if it was +5 on hit, actually, then you'd be able to get like fucking stand light kick or some shit. That would be so sick if you could do that. Insane range. This range is fucking insane. Like, this is almost the range of like a medium, bro. I'm not gonna be able to like convert it into much unless it's like, you know, somebody's a lot closer within their pressure and they're trying to like steal a turn or you know, try to loop by like staggering their pressure. Okay, then you can get something like this on defense. Okay, but like if you're here, you're not gonna get that, right? You'd have to be like here, something like that. Okay, so it's pretty good. So good range. It's not cancelable, but you can chain it, you know. So let's say if I know something like this into a side switch, you could win an entire round off of this conversion. So of course, depending on like if a person has really low drive, if you know maybe you're low on drive, whatever, anything, you're just trying to convert something like this. Okay. And that could be all you needed to win an entire round. So stuff like that is very important because it rewards you for being accurate on your decisions. It sucks when in like Street Fighter 5 you'd hit somebody, but then it like what, you don't get anything, you know. Like this is still not like perfect, of course, but it's still a hell of a lot better than what we had before. Like look how far this is hitting. That's gonna whiff, but look, this right here hits. That's crazy. And it's consistent. Like pretty good defensive tool. Good for staggering when people are walking back. You can, it's also pretty good. So right here, for example, this is +6. So listen to this is a true block string. I don't see enough players doing this. This is my shit. Okay. Okay, went around off of that. So things like that we didn't really have the luxury of having in 5, so I really like shit like that, you know. Yeah, fundamental thing I told you guys about the 2 frames of the Hitbox extension on startup. Okay, so now let's look at crouching medium kick. Now this button, I think this button is so underrated, it's actually crazy for a bunch of reasons. So obviously it was kind of controversial because it wasn't cancelable, and that was like, I was like, bruh, I was like annoyed because I was like, the only reason they're doing this is because low forward drive rush has nothing to do with anything else. It's literally crouching medium kick drive rush. I wish they made it cancelable, but you can't drive rush off of it. They don't have anything like that yet in this game. I don't believe, where a move is special cancelable but you can't drive rush. So unless it's like a airborne, like a chain or some shit like that, right? Like a wrecker or something like that. I mean, this button is still pretty sick, I'm not gonna lie. It's just not in the traditional sense, of course. Sagat was mainly like a crouching medium punch canceler anyways, right? But it was just the low forward was like to threaten people from not walking back a little bit further away out of that range, right? Where they think it was safe to do that. So now you don't really have the luxury of, you know, canceling this, obviously. So the thing is, like I was saying earlier, we have to see, what does the proximity block look like? Okay, so proximity block is matches the hitbox. Okay, so again, if you're the type to wait or delay like this, you're gonna get cooked. But if you just let that bitch rip when you enter a range, or you think that they're not, the second you just feel the unblock, the walk back or the poke or whatever, then the walk back won't be as threatening. It's a lot less likely to happen. Okay, but this has really good range, and so naturally this is +4, so you can combo into this, which is pretty cool. Okay, if you drive rush, it's +8, and you get back fierce, which is pretty sick. Okay, pretty sick. even that's pretty insane too. Like, so even if you're like, let's say you're at this range, I can't get this. Okay. Because I'm pretty sure this, yeah, this definitely hits in ranges right where the back fierce won't. Like, that's not gonna hit there, but that'll hit there. And for 31%, that's pretty good. But look how meter efficient that is, right? So like, the character's design is to definitely take advantage of the fact that if he gets a hit, he doesn't have to meter dump to do a lot of damage. That's where he excels. That's the thing about the character that's so compelling, in my opinion. So I think he has an insane amount of potential. It's just that obviously he's not optimized yet. So people are just like underwhelmed when they get hit by him. They don't think anything of it. They're like, I don't really see it. You know. But I think this character is really strong. It's just he's not easy to use, and nobody's optimized him yet. But that's where I come into play, right? This button is like one of those examples of something that's changed and traditionally might rub you off the wrong way like it did me. But if you keep an open mind to it, and you just see past the familiarity of it's Sagat and you treat him like a new character, then you can find ways of really appreciating how this button works in different ways, you know? No hurtbox extension again. So this is like 4 out of his 5 best buttons are basically like this. And then look at the disjoint. That's insane. It's actually past his foot. It's active for 3 frames too, which is really good. Another reason why this shit is amazing is because, again, you got to use these things in tandem, right? So crouching strong into this is a true block string, which is pretty fucking crazy. So if I were to do this into this, I am in throw range, even at max distance. Oh shit. I lied, not at max distance. If you're at max distance, you're not. But you can let it ride a little bit, the drive rush, and still frame trap. Okay. And then be in range of it. Okay, so look, all right. So this is a true block string, but then you also get a shimmy opportunity off of this. So even if you were to immediately throw, that's crazy. That's kind of nuts. Bruh, for teching, you lost that much damage? So you see, like, if you're meter efficient, like you saw I just did that with punish with crouch fierce. Like, no, I don't even have to do that. I could just... And look how much meter I just built back off of that situation. So this is going to be really strong for forcing that type of close range offense that Sagat excels at once you use that in tandem with this. Okay, this is really strong, and then being able to shimmy off of that is like another layer of beautiful opportunity that we have that we could take advantage of. So yeah, this is pretty good. And then the last button of the night, sweep. Good old sweep. Another button without a... Holy shit, what the fuck? I mean, forgive me, I haven't seen the hitboxes like that, because once they updated this website, I literally went to Saudi like the next day, I think, so I didn't really get to see these. But holy shit, brother, what the fuck? No hurtbox extension, but then look how fucking massive that is. It's actually crazy. Wow, so this is 100% gonna be his like best drive rush low check. Like, it's not even fucking close. Like, legit. Wow. 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 Yo, that's sick. Oh, and you get... Oh, that's sick, because then you get that. Oh, nice. Cool. So then you get into crouching strong works. Wow, look at that. Damn, that is sick. Look at his health bar. That's so sick. What the fuck? I didn't even really do anything. I just fucking checked the drive rush and did a meaty. I didn't spend any meter in that sequence. I just did 4,500 damage in total. From a check drive rush into a meaty into a super. I didn't use any drive meter. There's nothing changes on knockdown and counter hit though, right? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And I'm assuming it's the same for drive rush. So he gets empty jump into a +2. Bruh. Okay. That's pretty cool because then that means you get that's +10. Am I in range? Oh my god, I'm in range. I can delay cancel that. Right? Oh no, I can't. The punish counter version is the one that you can do that. Damn, that's still pretty good. Fuck. Pretty good range. Okay. It's about the same range as stand medium kick. Oh, it's a little further than stand medium kick. Okay. Say back roll. What does the Oki look like? Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. How's the proximity block on this? Oh, nice. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. All right, guys. So now that we've concluded this, see how much work goes into understanding something as simple as fucking buttons. But nice. That's one building block that we have now.